Do you know who this woman is? You probably don't. But today, I want to share the legacy of Mary Richardson Kennedy with you all. This is the second wife of presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Mary Richardson Kennedy took her own life on May 16, 2012. Her legacy was destroyed by this family that she married into, and I believe strongly that the world should really know the truth about how she was impacted during the last years of her life. I don't believe that people deserve to be tarnished in their legacy, and I felt very strongly about it when I did research on this story. Please let it be known that I am in perfect health, and this is for educational purposes only. Mary Richardson Kennedy deserved better, and here's why. This is Emily Ruth Black. This was RFK Jr.'s first wife, in which he has 2 children with her. And during the time that he was married to her, he had a severe drug problem as well. So he was philandering and he had a severe drug problem, in which Emily Ruth Black saw him through all of it. How do you suppose RFK Jr. returned the favor of having a doting wife? Well, he ended up getting Mary Richardson pregnant and just getting out of his marriage altogether to this woman right here. So he gets married to Mary Richardson, and together they have 4 children together. Mary is the perfect mother, wife. She's doing all the wifely things that are expected as a Kennedy wife. And let it be known that Carrie Kennedy was the one that introduced them. So she's been a longtime friend of the Kennedys even before she got married to RFK Jr. She was very well connected to the Kennedys and was aware of their lifestyle, had been to different parties just through Carrie Kennedy. And here she is at Carrie Kennedy's wedding. And Carrie Kennedy, even after Mary Richardson's spiral, she continued to demonize Mary Richardson, and under the guise of being her best friend. Oh, my friend was so troubled. She was so suicidal. She had all these demons, blah, blah, blah. However, they're leaving out, she has chosen to leave out the fact that Robert F. Kennedy sent her on that spiral. So there was a book called Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Troubled Marriages, and it was written by Jerry Oppenheimer, and I just want to read some excerpts from his book to you. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. reportedly wrote that his greatest flaw was his lust demons. Bobby reportedly popped the question to Mary, a longtime friend of his sister Carrie, in the summer of 1993, claiming he had already divorced Emily. 3 weeks after he had finally did divorce his first wife, who was that was Emily Ruth Black, he married a 6-month pregnant Mary in 1994. So began another tumultuous marriage for Bobby, but this one would end in tragedy when Mary committed suicide in May of 2012. And he goes on to say that during the course of their 18-year relationship, Bobby allegedly demanded to have a menage a trois with Mary, exposed his genitals in front of her and a friend, and had a confidant of Mary called an astronomical number of affairs, Oppenheimer writes. And the crazy part is Bobby kept track of some of the alleged affairs in a secret diary that was leaked to the New York Post. And this is the actual journal of RFK Jr., in which he talked about his philandering. He talked about environmentalism. This is his journal in which he wrote all this and left it out for Mary Richardson to see and read about his 37 confessions of sleeping with different women. And the man had no shame at all. But this seems to be an ongoing thing with RFK Jr. about his philandering and just cheating. He doesn't seem to be able to keep it in his pants no matter who he's with. Let it be known that Mary Richardson did everything a wife could possibly do in this position with an out-of-control husband who is out there on drugs or just sleeping with whatever moves, and she is trying to hold it together. So she started to spiral. But as she began to spiral, and then there was threats of, her starting to drink and unravel, which understandably, I would think that a lot of women in this position would just turn to drinking and just feel desperate. So I don't necessarily hold that against her, but then he did. He knew exactly what to do as a lawyer and how to gaslight her, and just, he wanted to get out of this situation, just like he did with his first marriage, and he jumped into this. And then he did the same thing when he got with Cheryl Hines. Let it be known that Cheryl Hines knew all about this and was also guilty of the spiral of Mary Richardson Kennedy. Cheryl Hines started to basically replace Mary Richardson, and Mary Richardson saw it coming. Towards the end of her life, she saw how she was being replaced by her friends. RFK was seen at events with Cheryl Hines. Let it be known that Cheryl Hines was married at the time that she met RFK Jr. So the thick red journal was found in their home by wife Mary Richardson Kennedy, who was distraught over their impending divorce, and Kennedy's serial philandering committed suicide last year. So, I mean, why would you leave your journal out for your diary out with your disgruntled wife while you're actively cheating on her, unless you wanted her to spiral? Maybe you wanted to be out of that marriage, like I don't put it past him. This seems like what he was doing because he was already with Cheryl Hines. So this is from People magazine. In the spring of 2010, Mary Richardson died in 2012. Remember, they were still married at the time of her death, okay? Even though he was already with Cheryl Hines. This guy moves fast. In the spring of 2010, Bobby began a divorce proceedings with Mary and went public with his relationship with Cheryl Hines. In the months before she took her own life, Mary allegedly told a longtime friend that she feared for her life and claimed that Bobby repeatedly told her that she would be better off dead and that it would be so much easier if she killed herself. That is just so tragic to hear this. On Wednesday, May 16, 2012, Mary's AA sponsor found her hanging in a barn on her Bedford, New York estate. She was 52 years old.